Alright, hello YouTubers. It's been a while since I last uploaded a Wargame Air Land Battle game, like a very long time actually. The last time I uploaded a game was when the game was in beta, so this is a new match here. This is a 4 vs 4 on Telemark. I am playing a Swedish deck, a Swedish national deck, and the game has changed significantly since I last played, of course. It's much different now. Sweden is good. The minor nations are much better ever since the DLC, the Vox Populi DLC, which fixed a lot of the issues that Wargame had and generally made things a lot better. So it's made the game a lot more helpful. I'm assigned to the left flank on this match. But before I begin here, though, I'm going to talk quickly about Wargame Red Dragon, the sequel to Wargame Air Land Battle that's just been announced. It's been announced and it's going to take place in Asia. It's going to add the People's Republic of China, North and South Korea, Japan, and Anzac, which is a combination of New Zealand and Australia, and it's going to add naval units and about 400 new units in otherwise, and it's going to be pretty good. I mean, there was a video of it which I will link in the description. It's really good. It announces a lot of the new features for the game, and it's supposed to have navies and the new units and the new nations and terrain is all changed around, and I'm really looking forward to it. Hopefully the existing nations will be buffed as well, and I really hope that it turns out to be good in the end, although there apparently will be an alpha soon. Hopefully I'll be able to get into that or something like that. We'll see here, but I'm looking forward to it. It'll probably out in March or April, or actually no, probably May, maybe April of next year, and we'll see as more information is released, and that's really all I know right now. But the Asian theater will be interesting. Oh, and the timeline is extended to 1991 as well, so that will be interesting. And we'll go from there. I'll talk about it later in the video. But right here, I'm playing on the left flank of this map here. My allies are on the right. They friends playing a French Marine deck. I'm playing Swedish. I start here with a couple Veek 40s and Hawks. I'm just following the Hawk there as it moves along, and a TOW 551 PVVR B51, the Striv 9040, which is one of the best IFVs in the game. The 40mm, it has a lot of armor, and the 40mm gun just mulches enemy infantry and light vehicles and helicopters. And that 103C S tank, which is a very efficient 75-point tank. It's slow and it can't fire on the move. There's the TGB-13, the weird Swedish transfer. The S-tank can't fire on the move, and it's slow, but its gun is actually accurate and pretty powerful. And this is the Veek 40, which is one of the few Swedish AA units, unfortunately. Sweden's AA is not very good, unfortunately. The Veek 40 is a long range, but it isn't very powerful. So right here, the enemy is helicopter rushing. Unfortunately, they have 4 Mi-24s right here, and they're rushing the left side with some, I believe there's Spetsnaz in there, and my recon chopper is getting ahead of itself here, and it's getting shot at there, so I quickly pull it back before it takes too much damage. And I try to be careful here, and now I'll have to be careful and watch out. And right here I call in a J-35D Draken, which is a good cheap, right there you can see them fly over along with my friend's F-8 Crusader. It's a cheap anti-helicopter unit so far as they aided, and we get, I believe we destroy one hind there, 1 or 2. And we come around for another pass. These are both gunfighters, by the way. The F-8 Crusader's primary weapon is its guns. I'll zoom in right here. You don't get to see it too often, so it's kind of good that I showed it right there. I try to get a lock, but he flies by, so I just evac him out. And my friend's F8 gets another strafing run right here. Hits him with the magic, and a gun burst, destroys one more hind, and then pulls out. So I'm moving up my guys quickly here. You have to be careful, because right in the middle you have to position your units very carefully. I'm not bothering to assault the town, because that's suicide. On the right here, my ally is just getting the shit bombed out of him with Su-24s. So unfortunately, all of his helicopter Marines are getting smashed by Su-24. 4 Su-24 bombardments. The Su-24 is now a really good bomber. It used to be completely garbage before the 2,000-pound bomb nerf, but now it's amazing. So be careful here. I know that the enemy has that area where I just moused over occupied, so I'm trying to be careful. I'm moving up my Veek 40s and all my units slowly, because the Veek 40 is one of the only AA units I have, and even then it's not the greatest against choppers. I do have the Hawk, but that's only anti-jet, and of course I have RBS 70 infantry, which is one of the better man pads in the game, but I don't bring it out until later. Right here, my friend's F8 is trying to shoot down those Mi-4s, but unfortunately they're in a really bad position, and the F8 cannot fly that way because of the mountains, so it's just probably going to run out of fuel. It's unfortunate the way it is sometimes that you have to, it's just in a bad spot. So right here, my TGB at M42 with some false Gumjarna in it. They get just wrecked by Spetsnaz, unfortunately. I'm just zooming in here as they get shot up, unfortunately. So yeah, Spetsnaz, you don't really have a chance against them. You have to, with infantry, because if they don't annihilate you with their RPK, they'll annihilate you with the RPO, which kills entire squads single-handedly. So I believe I have to bring in some armor here and stuff, unfortunately. So I'm just probing that flank, and in retrospect, I probably should have taken the flank earlier. That was a mistake. So right here I had some Hinds shooting at my 103Cs. They take a hit there in the front, take two points of damage, which is not that bad. The 103C is pretty good front armor if it can take a Cacon, which is AP 20. Right there I fired the new SK-60B, which is the trainer unit of Sweden. It is equipped, the only unit in the game equipped with a long-range air-to-ground missile that does HE damage and explodes rather large. It's very effective against infantry and light vehicles, and it's actually a very good unit, but unfortunately in this I'm not able to use it to its full potential in this game because I missed right there, and later on his air defense just gets too heavy. But if you use it properly, it's a very good unit that's very unique because it's the only unit in the game that has an HE standoff weapon besides the Nighthawk. So it's very good in that regard, and by standoff I mean it can shoot it from further away than a bomb. Although, well, a little further away than a bomb. So right there again, my ally's F8 fails to get the MI4. The MI4T, that's the transport MI4. That's a new unit that was added in the DLC, by the way. So, and right here, I don't know, there's not really much going on the right, but I'm just watching this Kiwa close in as on the MI4 here, as it shoots it about, I think about like 10 times with the Browning here, and then just explodes. Yeah, right there. So that's kind of funny. Just shoot it a couple times with a 50 cal, and then it blows up. That was relatively cool. Right there, my ally brings in some super Untards to snipe some enemy armor, because he's playing a 1980 French Marine deck, I believe, or maybe 85, I'm not sure. But anyway, French Marine deck right there, AMX 1390, which is a very effective French recon tank with a 90mm rapid fire gun, which is very useful and one of the best recon units in the game, actually. The 90mm is very powerful and effective and shoots very quickly. Right there, I almost made the same mistake on my flank, but I don't do it again. Right there, unfortunately, the MX-13 takes heavy fire from an enemy Tunguska and is panicked, and also the enemy command BMP, which it should have been able to destroy, but unfortunately was not able to. And yeah, so he's pulling back there and yeah, driving back there. But I believe there's a Super Entadard coming in about 1 second that should snipe that command vehicle. Quickly over to my side, nothing really happening. Speed up the game a bit. Yeah, right there. Yeah, the command vehicle is just destroyed by the Super Darts, and the Tunguska gets sniped there too. Got an L-39 coming in, and right there my ally's spawning. There was a bunch of Marines there. The enemy's spawning tanks right where the Marine T-88s, right where the French Marines are, and is getting hit by some Carl Gustav or some LRAX, but it's not, refuses to die. And right there, Su-7 just napalms me. So they're not probably going to survive. And the Spetsnaz shoot their RPOs with my 104 there, which doesn't do anything, but it does slight amounts of damage and gives it critical hits. The Striv 104 is a Swedish upgraded Centurion of the mid-1980s. It's actually a really good tank. And right there, Su-24 bombs again. But considering that the Swedes don't really have an offensive tank, like the S-Tank is strictly a defensive tank because it cannot shoot on the move, the 104 is about the best you can get. For 45 points, it's actually a really good deal. It's a really good tank for 45 points, and then it's mobile and does good damage. And right there, he uses another Su-24 to bomb literally one truck, and then my allies' artillery shells the Spetsnaz and kills a couple squads. And I soon begin to build up on the left here. Su-24 again. This guy is unfortunately spamming aircraft, and due to the fact that my ally's playing a French Marine deck, his air defense is not adequate, unfortunately, so it's too bad about that. There's a big hole in his air defense right there that he needs to plug. And I bring in one 103B, Strip 103B, and finally I bring in some, I have a PBV 302, which is a Swedish transport with a 20mm gun on it that is starting to take pot shots at some of their helicopters. And right about here I finally realized that I really need to bring in AA because he just has a retarded amount of helicopters. Another Su-24 hit onto my ally there. Middle is nothing's really happening in the center, unfortunately. Right there I bring in my first 2 squads of RBS 70s, and I'm trying to move up another Falskirmi Arma squad to get some eyes there. My ally accidentally brings in 4 Brennis tanks that he meant to spawn in the middle, but they spawned over here. Yep, we all know that feel when that happens. And their MI-17s are moving up, and they rocket the shit out of my infantry and people 302 because they have nothing to protect them, unfortunately. So they die. False Commune aren't seen, thank goodness, although I think they shoot right there and die. Yeah, they make the mistake of shooting. I should have turned off their weapons. And the Mi-17s are shooting away at the apprentices and doing some fair bit of damage. And right there, wow, 4 Superintendents and 2 Crusaders. You don't see that very often, so I just decided to camera over this. And right there, the T-64 BMs take heavy missile fire and get severely damaged, and the F-8s are escort. I move up my Veek finally here, and right in about in a second here, it'll start shooting because I realized that I should have done this a long time ago. It's right there. Boom, 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 boom. It's one of the better AA guns in the game, but it doesn't have the insta-kill ability that the Roland does. And you have some the Gepard, Flak Panzer Gepard in one of West Germany is probably a little bit better, to be honest with you. And it also is a rather slow reload, unfortunately, so boom, 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 firing away. But I don't kill anything that I'm shooting at, unfortunately, stun it. And my allies' apprentices keep taking hits from Kukon missiles. Loses one right there. Right there I lost there was some Kukur's infantry in the town that I lost my, one of my RBS 70 teams to, so that's unfortunate. Ally has some M1 IPs moving up against T80As, relatively close range. And the Mi-24s continue to shell the apprentices. This was a really big mistake on my teammates' party. Spawned them at the wrong spawn and tried to move them up, but they just got home by helicopters because they had no support. This is where Sweden really sucks. They have no AA, and you have to rely on your J35D Dragons, which are 40 points, to really be any effective. But I know that he has some AA in that area, although to begin with, he probably didn't have a lot. Anyway, right here I zoom in on my RBS 70 team, all panicked and stuff, but I decided to look at the animation of the man-pad firing, because I don't usually do that. And right there he fires, and the missile goes wildly off course, because when they're panicked, they can't hit shit. Especially the stay close man pad like the RBS 70. The advantage of the RBS 70 is that it's more accurate than the Strela 2 and Strela 3, I'd say. And it's really powerful, but it's very affected by veterancy because it's a stay close missile and it's not fire and forget, so the team has to stand still the entire time that they're firing the missile, or it'll be useless, which is unfortunate. But the RBS 70 is a pretty good AA unit. It's better than the Strela 2 and the Red Eye, I'd say. Maybe a little better than the Strela 3, but definitely not better than the Igla or Stinger. But it's a decent weapon. There's nothing wrong with it. So I'm moving them up into the forest here, and I try to get a shot off. Oh, and I score a hit right there. So moving it up, and yeah, just zooming in again here because you don't usually get to see them up close. Fire another missile. Missed. I know this is rather small scale action, but don't worry, it picks up in a minute here. Don't you worry about that. Fire another missile here. I think this one hits. Nope, we're away at the last second. Don't you love that? Alright there, my ally orders 16 VABs to the left side to flank around with some French reservists, and my ally also orders, other ally orders 4 AMX-10s filled with sapeur. Yes, so the French sappers with flamethrowers. So, and he also brings up 2 Rolands to help deal with the helicopter spam because he knows that the situation's getting kind of critical, which I agree with. And right here, I probably should have moved up all my Veeks because the Veek can outrage the Mi-24, but I was kind of sleeping, I guess, unfortunately. So, sorry about that. And the Rolands right here, like you'll see some funny accuracy problems here. The Rolands miss with almost all 4 missiles. And then they shoot 2, complete miss, other 2, 1 hit, another miss. It's really unfortunate about that. But it's complete luck of the draw. And then they fire again here in a second. Right there, and I get my other RBS 70 team in position. And both those Rolands get destroyed. Or both those two Mi-24s get shot down, so that's good. But we're still taking a noticeable amount of losses here, and half my force I can't even use due to the fact that it is anti-tank, and this guy has literally no vehicles, only aircraft and helicopters, so I was not expecting that. More Su-24 MP spam on the left here. A lot of bombs. There's a ridiculous amount of bombs, actually. Holy shit. My Panzer Scud are engaging enemy VDV in the forest here, and generally speaking, those VDV are, I believe, veteran or elite. Panzer Scud outnumber them by 2 to 1, so generally speaking, I should probably win, although the VDV would have a good chance as well. But I don't know. It really depends. Panzerscout aren't horrible infantry. Their law is bad, but their machine gun and rifle are pretty good. So there's the upgraded Centurion, the Strip 104. That I'm finally moving up the hill here to get some fire support. Right, instantly here it comes under fire from my Tungnauska, which I didn't know he had there. So now I know that there's almost no enemies resistance there. Right up to the enemy AA, and right there he gets hit by a Concurs, and then hit by another one and he dies, unfortunately. So I realize he does have some Concurs teams there. And the Sapur versus the Spetsnaz, well, you'll see who wins, and certainly not the Sapurs. Spetsnaz are just ridiculous because their one rocket wipes out an entire squad. It can be pretty ridiculous sometimes, I'll tell you that. And the Mi-17s take a hit, or the Mi-24s do, from the Roland. But right there is he's getting engaged by the VDV, or I'm finishing off the VDV because they wounded my RBS-70 teams, and there was only one guy left in one of the squads, so I was really worried they were going to knock them out, but they don't actually in the end. Thank goodness. And the supporters are trying to force through, my line tries to force fire them, but they're not too effective. And I finish off the VDV, the elite VDV right about now. So yes, the VABs are rushing in now, and then you come under fire from Tungnuskas and a lot of enemy stuff. Yeah, I guess they're kind of just doing it as bait to waste ammo, which is kind of a good idea. The VABs are what, 5 points. They can't even kill that UAZ with all their fire though, which is pretty crazy. Like look at that, look at how bad that accuracy is. It is 1 bar of health and they can't finish it off. Although I think they destroyed, but it's still, you can't really tell. So right there, my RB-17 start opening up and score a series of hits on the enemy helicopters, which are rushing up now. And as you can see, the happening is beginning. More RBS-70s go out, score a bunch of hits along with the VIC-40s, and lots of enemy dead shoppers. The enemy's taken a lot of losses now. VIC-40s engaging. Tunguska's still alive, unfortunately, so I bring up my 103B to help engage that Tunguska. Stop, fire, reload, fire again, boom. It's quite accurate, as you can see. It shoots very quickly, but I lose sight of the Tunguska, unfortunately, right there. Right as I didn't want to. So right there, RBS-70 gets another hit. One shots that chopper. But they're reloading again. This missile missed right at the last second. Don't you hate that? And firing again. Yeah, so as you can see, Sweden is a good nation. They have very good solid stuff, good infantry, good air support, which I unfortunately don't get to use to the full extent in this game. But they lack in AA. Like the VIC-40 is solid, and the Hawk is good against jets. But you really have to rely on RBS-70 teams to take out like massive amounts of helicopters, because the VIC can kind of manage, but not to the fullest extent. I probably could have taken another card of VICs in my deck, but I chose to have a card of VICs and a card of Hawks and 2 Bacons. And I do use my Bacons. I suicide a recon chopper there stupidly. Again, but I kill the Tunguska. I do have 2 cards of Bacons, which I do use in this battle a fair bit, but a little later on, I believe. Not right at this moment, but I do use that. And the Bacon is the best artillery piece in the games, or the best 155mm artillery piece in the game. So right there, Su-24 gets shot down, so I can't afford not to use the Bacon. But I may have to make some changes to this deck to add another card of AA. This 103C takes a massive amount of fire from enemy anti-tank missiles, and Tungnuskas right there. 2 Tungnuskas open up, and it just pins it down. Right there, I shelled the enemy AA. Help damage it, and there's enemy Tunguska was destroyed right there, but the 103C is taking massive amounts of fire and is not going to survive much longer, unfortunately. And right there he dies, but he did his job of soaking up enemy fire. I should have sent him in groups there. Right there, my ally have Parks and Bad Mephistos, which are within range of enemy Concurs teams, unfortunately. Command vehicles destroyed in the center. More artillery coming in from my Bacons on the enemy Concurs team, and right there, destroy another Tunguska M that was weakened. And right there, Mi-17 takes heavy fire from my VIC and is destroyed by my VIC, which is good. Because now we have a lot of stuff building up here. A lot of L-Noir AAs, a lot of AMX-30s, a lot of infantry building up for an assault here. It's happening because the rest of the map is not happening, I'll tell you that. Right there, and I have 1 squad of Panzerscout that I tell them to engage with their mag to finish up that Concurs team. And tactics here, well, the middle of the map is going well, and the right map is they're on the ropes because the guy on the right is spamming planes. This is why you never spam planes, by the way, because you lose control of the ground very, very quickly. Plane spam strategies are just not a good idea, and I mean, they are one guy did disconnect at the very beginning of this game, but it wasn't that big of a deal. I still felt that this game was worthy of recording and uploading versus some of my other ones, which were even more one-sided. But this game was relatively close in terms of score. So anyway, and Eagle Bride's brought in along with a Hornet, takes a pot shot with an AMRAAM, but no hit. Over here we got, yes, same thing. Right there, I lose an SK-60 to an enemy buck. Unfortunately, I tried to use it, but he got shot down by an enemy buck at 1. And my Panzerskat just got decimated by the Spetsnaz yet again. Even though there's only one squad left, they just refuse to go down until my V is opening up on the enemy line 2. But it manages to get away, unfortunately. And more artillery's coming in to get rid of the remaining Spetsnaz. MI2, all the destroyed hulks, helicopters everywhere. Gotta love that detail on my dad. Very good, and I can't wait when we're Red Dragon when we get to see a ship sink. Right here, I finally bring it forward. Strip 104 buff Centurions because I realize it's time to get rid of the enemy AA presence on the top of the hill. I probably could have called in S-tanks, but again, the 104, these guys are hardened 104s, and they are better in offensive capabilities than most other tanks Sweden has. I mean, they're 45 points, and they won't beat a T-72 or a T-80, but against what he has there, which is nothing, they're great. They're great, and even for 45 points, they're still pretty cost-effective, so they can definitely be worse. Vik there, Hawk not doing anything. They're about to crest the hill. Right about now. And they come under fire from enemy concurs instantly, but they open up and take them out in about 1 second, I think. Yep, right there, 2 concurs teams killed, got the buck, and 1 right after that. So I did my job instantly. They pretty much already paid for themselves, even though they're coming under fire from enemy Hinds. Those are Hind D grades, by the way, which means they're the version that you can only get by transporting infantry. And they have the shitty Fletcher missile, which is not as good as the Kirk-Collins, and thank goodness for that. It's not as accurate, but it's still pretty powerful. And they have S5 rockets too, so they're okay, but they come with infantry, and that's the only way to get them in Air Land Battle. No more spamming Hind A's like in European Escalation, which was really fucking annoying. And my dad, fuck, did I ever hate Hind A spam? Was the worst shit. Really annoying and almost impossible to counter. So it's too bad for that. So right there, my RB-70 teams pick off another couple choppers. My allies moving his massive army through the forest, and we are about to make an assault on the town. Smoke is in place, and here comes the happening begins. There's 1 Hind left, unfortunately. My allies' VAVs are taking relatively heavy fire. And I lose another squad of Fallschirmjäger to the fucking Spetsnaz that refuse to die, but right there, finally, my Strid 104s finish off the Spetsnaz. So finally, the Spetsnaz are gone after fucking like 20 years. So right now, they're taking massive fire from enemy ATGMs. All Noirs are firing away at the Mi-24, missing. AA is picking them off, and there's missiles coming from the town everywhere, and enemies occupied, and the happening is beginning. I'm starting to send in more troops, although I probably could have ordered up a bunch of infantry here. I decided against it, probably because his assault seemed to be going badly, and because he just ordered so many infantry already, but in retrospect, I probably had a better idea. Of course, hindsight's 2020, but right there, there's the Tunguska, and another bucket one on top there, which I should have shelled, but I don't think I do. My STRV 104s are opening up on them right there from the corner. They destroyed another enemy unit already, and they're about to destroy the Buckhead one in about a second as well. So despite the setback by the enemy concurs teams, we have artillery coming in. We are pushing up with Legion there, and the Legion are engaging the enemy. The enemy Peter concurs, but not doing too well. And my V, although Almamar is shooting, RBS-70 soldiers are engaging. Hit and behind with proximity fuse there. My M42s that just moving them in for lulls because they can panic the enemy. And Tard 4 gets hit by a buck point blank and then dies 1 second later. And there's a lot of rocket fire coming down everywhere. I should have brought in my planes here. He still has a Tunguska and a buck left that need to die. Pumas everywhere, taking massive losses, and then as we engage here with tons of airborne infantry and super into the hearts and ground-based infantry, the assault is really picking up now. It's a pretty ridiculous battle. Enemy Tunguska's right there, boom, it's hit by 2 AS-30s, no chance. Evacs, Winchester, all Noirs in the Vabs are engaging enemy Mi-17s there and Mi-24s. And tide is finally turning against the helicopter spam just because we have so many vehicles. Man, did we ever take a lot of losses. Holy shit. Keep going here. The AMX-30s are engaging. My 24 is still firing away. Enemies ordering Cubs. Let's get a quick look at the AMX-30s there. RBS-70 is firing away. I'm moving up my 104s into position to take up those bucks. Those Cubs, sorry, not bucks. And my RBS-70 team scores a hit on a hind there with a nice curvy missile. Love the RBS-70 for that reason. It was cool. It's actually good on the blowpipe too. And 2 misses there, unfortunately. They started to move. These guys, VABs take heavy fire, but the reservists managed to bail. Their MAS 4956s, the fucking Bolter semi-auto rifles from like World War II, post-French colonial days. They score another hit on the 924s, which are now severely losing numbers, and our massive amounts of French Marines begin to move in. And the town is slowly falling to our might, and there's a town battle against the reservists and the Kurz infantry, which will surely lose against 40 reservists, and L-39, Su-24 MP delivering bombs in our forces. Infantry taking a fair bit of losses, another Su-24 MP. And my ally brings in an Eagle, which scores 1 kill, but can't get the rest, and my AA is unfortunately not good enough. I should have moved up my Hawk at this point, which I easily could have, but again, I fucked up. Right there, our VAV T-20s are engaging the enemy helicopters, but losing, unfortunately. The enemy onslaught rockets and missiles, which is always floating. If this game teaches me anything, it's to always bring a little more AA than you require. You should always start with at least 170 points of AA, regardless of what nation you are. I think I should have brought more RBS-70 teams and a couple more beaks at the beginning. Right there, though, now the enemy starts to bring in T-80s from his spawn here. My 104s are engaging, but they're taking fire, and they don't have the ability to take out those T-80s, even if they are base model T-80s, which aren't very good. They're still cost around 95 points, and he does have 3 of them. So I bring in my 4 103C S tanks now. My 104s are engaging, but they're not really doing much. I bring in my 4 103C S tanks. I stop them, tell them to aim fire, boom, 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 boom. And they fire very quickly, which is nice. And move up a bit again, fire some more. Look at that fast rate of fire. He scored a hit on one of the T-80s. Boom, boom. One of the other ones was weakened. Boom, boom. Miss, and right there they get hit by a super rented dart and die. And the other one gets killed by another. The Tunguska gets killed by a super rented dart. And from there on, the flank is basically secure. So that was a hard-fought battle. That was mainly dictated by air power. I don't remember how many points I had saved up here, but it was probably a fair amount. I probably could have decided to purchase some air power and helped out with some of my own J-30 Drakens or whatnot, or bomb the enemy as well, because I do have cluster bombs now, anti-armor cluster bombs, and I have the SK-60 against enemy, the trainer plane with the missiles against enemy ground targets, but I decided not to bring it out because, I don't know, I was still worried about AA, but by this point it was almost a non-existent threat. I don't know, enemy VDV right there engaging. Enemy brings an Apache, which you rarely see, so it's nice to see that someone brought out an Apache. Very effective rocket cannon, just mulch those VDV up. Very, very nice looking unit. Thank you, Eugen, for modeling such a beautiful unit. Not that all the other units in the game are equally good looking, but that one is especially up to par. I wanted to check to see if the pilots were wearing the eye-mounted piece, the eye-mounted helmet, helmet-mounted eyesight that they use, or eyepiece that they use. And even in the 80s, they were with the helmet-mounted IHADSS, it was called, that allowed them to look around the cockpit. And when they looked around the cockpit, it would swivel the gun to wherever they were looking. It was one of the first helmet-mounted sights ever made, actually. And even before the East Germans came out with theirs on the MiG-29, it was one of the first ones ever made and allowed him to look, to swivel the gun, which was an ingenious design and became copied by, well, the East Germans used it on the MiG-29. That was the first use of it on a fighter jet, and today everyone uses it on their fighter jets, the Russians and the Americans. And right there you can see I switched to all mode, and you can see a lot of shit that they have back at their bases. Like, that town is literally completely filled with infantry. I don't know why, because they gain no strategic advantage by being back there, and their spawn on the right is a lot of stuff too. Right there, the VDV are shooting with their very long-range RPG-16, as you can see, and right there they die. the RPG-16 is very long range. You don't fuck with VDV for that reason. So I buy another Hawk. I'm not kind of just securing this flank now because it's already done. Unless they're planning a counterattack, it's mostly over. But so now I switch over to the right side, which is not me, but I'll watch it for the rest of the game because it gets kind of interesting. My ally begins an assault with Abrams, M1IP and M1A1, and LAV 25s, engaging enemy concurs teams, along with some superintendards and support, but he has way too many bucks and they take damage. Pivades are engaging enemy MI-28s, enemy Havocs, which are quickly knocked out by Chaparrals combined with Pivades, and an enemy L-39 comes in, and artillery, a lot of artillery. The L-39 manages to escape, I believe, yes it does, and Su-24 MP comes in and drops its bomb load, just knocks out the Pivades, and then knocks out hurts the Bradleys. The Jag tried to bring in a Jaguar, but you just see just how many bucks he has. There's like 6 bucks defending his spawn. This is what you don't do, by the way. You don't fortify your spawn like this. That's just the wrong way to play the game because you have you on the defensive. Although he doesn't know if he's on the defensive, but he could do at least a better job of hiding his AA. Like Jesus Christ. But anyway, fortifying your crap like this is never really a very good idea because it just shows that you've lost already. And even then, if you're going to fortify it, you could have fortified behind the town and tried to bleed us out that way by letting us come in into the town and then attacking from the forest from both directions. That's the way I would have done it. But now he's just getting the shit artillery out of him and pounded out of him. And they have no initiative left at this point, even though the score is relatively close. So we've taken a lot of losses on here because my ally took a lot of losses to enemy air power. So despite air power, however, we managed to come up victorious. I did 1576 and 505, which is 3-1, which is pretty good. French Marine guy, which took a lot of losses to bombers, ended up doing relatively okay. And my friend did a little negative as well, and Margaret Thatcher did good as well. So we all ended up doing pretty well despite having some rough patches at the beginning there. And the enemy did okay, mostly not that negative either, to be honest with you. Could have been worse, and even though it was a 3v4, it was still a very good game. And most of my kills were against helicopters, which were very expensive, so it doesn't look like I got a lot of kills, but helicopters are very, very expensive. So my losses were mostly to Spetsnaz and Concurs, not that very many losses. Still did 3-1. I didn't do that much, 1500 compared to my ally James, which got 2600, but that's still relatively good. And a relatively good game overall, despite being bombed heavily. But it shows that French Marine decks and minor decks and minor nations like Sweden are still good in Wargame Air Land Battle and worth playing. And Wargame Red Dragon looks good. I'll come up with another video talking about that soon, and probably in a latter video. And I hope to make more videos about Wargame in the future. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.